Welcome to another episode of Collective Conversations. We're coming to you live from the trade show floor at 2023 Apartmentalize, National Apartment Association's annual event. And I'm joined here with Dom Beveridge. How are you doing, Dom?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am tired. It's 5 o'clock, man. This has been a whirlwind of a day. How's it been for you so far?
It's been great. Lots of clients here. Just too much like new technology and stuff to be able to talk to everybody, but just great, really interesting conversations. A lot of enthusiasm about new tech as well.
What have you seen thus far that has really impressed you?
Well, so the thing that is really striking me this show is how quickly the landscape keeps shifting in AI. So I wrote a blog last week about AIM, which was an excellent set of sessions where they tried to tease out like what's happening with AI, and 1 month later it feels like a bunch of stuff already changed.
That's right.
So one thing that did interest me on Tuesday night I moderated with a session. Where we had 20 vendors pitch to a panel of experts, and so it was really interesting just listening to the pitches and particularly listening to the questions that they got. But the thing that sort of fascinated me is that the judges, who were all senior operators, like very experienced people, for several of the vendors, they asked, do you have AI doing this thing in your solution, and or why do you have a call center doing this, or why do you not have AI doing this particular thing? And the impression that I got, that I'm increasingly getting right now, is that people seem to have an intuition about the kinds of work that AI is supposed to do, and you can tell people are now starting to look at non-AI stuff like, okay, well, I suspect that's going to be obsolete if they're not putting this into the into the belly of the beast.
Yeah, it's interesting. If we're referring to the same blog, you gave me an insight that I'd not thought about before, and I think it was inspired by someone else, and it was that people are looking at AI as a way to create content, as an example, and put that out into the world, when we should be looking at AI as a way to harvest big data sets to look for insights. Is that?
Yeah, no, that's true. The light sort of went off for me, and I've been talking to a couple of people around the trade show floor about this. Like when I see different people's applications of AI, particularly the way they use things like ChatGPT, where anyone can do whatever they like, right, on the platform.
That's right.
I can already tell there are good uses of that and less good uses of that. And what I've been sort of thinking about, what's the essence of a good use of ChatGPT? And it was something that somebody said at AIM that the light went off for me, which is that the things that are good problems to solve. The thing that somebody said during one of the sessions was that the right way to think about AI is this immensely powerful data analysis tool. And so the good uses of something like ChatGPT are the uses that have the characteristics of a data analysis problem. So if you think of Mike Whaling's example of, we get ChatGPT to read all the reviews, right, and figure out the gaps and create optimal content for a community based on what seems to correlate with high review scores. Right. That's fantastic use of that. And the reason for that is because he's basically identified a data analysis problem that happens to result in text being written.
That's right. It seems like to me you start with the data harvest to gain the insight, and then you could feed that insight back into, that's what you're saying, right? Yeah. Feed it back in, and then it will give you this incredible solution.
Yes.
And that's the way we should be thinking about AI.
Yeah, so the converse thing, like the bad take was somebody was showing the example of how they got it to write a business plan. I mean, that's not a smart, so that doesn't have the characteristics of a data analysis problem, right? Producing the plan is not the main thing in It's getting people to agree on stuff, and its priorities, and it's so they're using it for something that sort of looks like a text generation problem, but it really isn't. So that was the two opposites that I sort of came out with as examples.
Got it. So let's switch gears. Is there anything you're looking forward to and or want to walk away with, having spent this time here in Atlanta this week at Apartmentalize?
Yeah, so my I have a few things that I'm working on, but one of the things that I'm going to be doing a lot of work on between now and Optech is in the area of managed Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's interesting. It's an area where it just seems to me that everybody is going to have to do some version of this over the next few years as existing contracts expire. So if I think about retrofitting, there's just this sort of slow-moving wave that will go through the industry over the next probably 5 years or something like that. And I think it's an area that people don't understand well enough.
I agree with that.
Right. So
100%.
So I started talking to NMHC a while ago about just if we did a piece of sort of baseline research that simply defines what some of the terms mean and what some of the service levels are, and you just at least got a sort of standard taxonomy of stuff, and you did enough explaining about the basics of how the technology works, that would improve the level of understanding and provide a resource that was probably useful for people who have to make decisions about this stuff.
You know what I love about your work? And I mean this, and I read all of it. You know I do, right? And so I love it. It's kind of like reading the Journal of Medicine, right? You start out, I mean that, you start out by really you give people a way to think about a problem that is not so overwhelming, right? By definition of term, right? Or in context of, and it's very useful. I find your writing's very useful in terms of practical application. After I read it, I feel smarter and I can actually go do stuff with it. I mean that.
Yeah, no, I think I'm curious about understanding how stuff works. I have this this sort of tension always in my mind that I won't understand something properly, which just means I really, really try and understand stuff well, and I try and think about how I would explain it to somebody. Mm-hmm. And so I tend to gravitate towards these kinds of content where, all right, let's try and really understand what's going on here, and let's tell everybody what we found out.
It's great. You're an artist. You are, in that way. You're a total artist. All right, well, let's bring to a close here. I want people to know, everybody knows you, but let's go ahead and tell them where they can find you if they want to reach out.
Yeah, 20for20.com, so that's 20for20.com. You can find me at Dom Beveridge on Twitter or on LinkedIn.
Yeah, download all the white papers. They are all
there's more coming.
Wonderful. And there's more coming. Yeah. So, no, seriously. All right, well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate you investing a little bit of time with us today.
Yeah, thanks. I always appreciate coming on your show.
Yeah, thank you. All right.